Story 1. When I can be with them without having to perform. Meaning, when I don't have to have conversations all the time so they don't get bored, when I don't have to keep them busy with trips, games, sex, TV, going out, or whatever. I love all that, but I don't want to have to do it all day long. Every day just so we never experience a silent period. Seriously. If I ever find a guy with whom I can comfortably sit in silence and it does not get uncomfortable, I will kidnap him. Story 2. Apart from looks, I really like it when a guy is focused on one girl, he is in love with her and does not have eyes for anyone else. That is how I am as a woman, and I like a guy who is like that as well. As I have said in another post, shy, quiet guys are my type. Story 3. Honestly, I love when a guy is genuinely kind and respectful. You can tell when someone is really listening to you and cares about what you are saying. It is such a turn on when a guy does not just think about himself and actually puts effort into being thoughtful, whether it is holding the door open or checking in to see if you are doing okay. Also, a good sense of humor goes a long way. Someone who can make me laugh and not take everything too seriously is always a vibe. Story 4. I love it when my husband is caring. He is so cute when he chops wood and then says, "So that my mouse can stay nice and warm in the winter." Or when I am cooking for him and he comes home from work and he's smiling. I see the smile lines in his eyes, that sparkle, as he says, "Thank God I haven't eaten anything today. So I just have a completely empty stomach for your delicious food." When we're lying in bed and he rubs my back and says he will kill anyone who tries to harm me. Story 5. Married to a great man. Someone who grows with you, makes you a better individual, and together you feel unstoppable. To elaborate, my husband and I are each other's best friend. We are both not perfect, but we strive to give our best to each other daily, through good and bad times. We each have our strengths and weaknesses. I am more neurotic and he is more go with the flow. He calms me down and lets me vent when I need it, and vice versa. I like to plan our finances, individual and family goals, and vacations, and I take on most of the domestic responsibilities. He is not stingy with his money, yet still cautious and frugal. We have joint and separate finances. He makes more than I do, but we are both working and relatively high earners. I make sure I am always transparent with our finances, including my personal finances, and where things are going without prompt. I joke with him that I want his assets protected, especially if I am no longer in the picture. I go out of my way to ensure that if there are potential financial disasters, he and the rest of my family will be taken care of. We are also intellectually compatible with similar family values. Instead of 50-50, I feel that we are each giving 100% most days. He is willing to be emotionally available some days and increasingly so. We check in on each other and provide each other with emotional and financial security. I may be the boss most days, but he steps up when I am overwhelmed or need help. He offers help and does not wait to be asked. There are also a lot of areas where I submit because they frustrate me or I get overwhelmed. He does not mind, but he is also transparent if he does not want to deal with it either. He is not financially insecure or feels emasculated even if I make more than he does. He is not insecure about it and is willing to work less and make less to assume more domestic responsibilities, which I am currently taking care of. I hope to one day be the supportive partner so I can pamper him because I care about him that much. I always try to make sure he is not working too hard. He insists he is fine, but I think he is still working too hard. He actually insists that he can cut back and I can step up once I am more established with work, as my career is more focused on work-life balance than his. Lastly, I can be myself around him. I am strict but also a softie. He is the same with me. He snuggles with me when he is overwhelmed or seeks my reassurance. And we can both be silly about things and just laugh about them. It took years for our relationship to be like these examples. We did not start out like this. To me, these traits are the most attractive. Story 6. I'm more into girls, but I can still be with a guy. I'm currently in a relationship. Personality, artistic, kind to everyone, understanding, sense of humor, looks, I don't care for them much, but these make me excited. Beards, long hair, holy moly, I love long-haired men. Bonus traits, likes history, on joue coquine, à ma chef. Likes video games and movies. I'm a nerd. Loves music. Story 7. When he remembers tiny details from our conversations months ago. Like, I once casually mentioned loving this specific coffee shop's almond croissants, and 3 months later, he surprised me with one before work. Those little moments show he actually listens. Story 8. A guy who talks to me like I'm a person, not a target. One guy called me dude by accident. And I loved it because he wasn't putting on a talking with females persona. Story 9. The humility to admit his mistakes when he is wrong and change his ways, the strength to constantly self-improve. Someone who has his own opinions, knows what he wants and how to get it, stands up for what is right, speaks honestly but with gentleness, leadership qualities, and loyalty, loves only one. Story 10. When they try to get into the things I'm interested in, I read a lot of different genres, so I try to talk to them about things I've read that I think relate to what they like. When a guy does the same for me, it makes me feel heard. Also, when they don't come off as jealous or annoyed that I read a lot. As a science fiction and fantasy fan, I've had a few people tell me that some of the popular books in the genre aren't that popular at all. This was after showing someone my Mistborn tattoo. Story 11. Gosh, the list is long, but here are a few that pop to mind. Arms. Nice strong arms. Appropriately referring to women as women instead of females or girls. An ability to read the room, understand when people around them are comfortable or uncomfortable, and adjust their behavior accordingly. This is appealing in all people, but I find it to be rarer in men. Crinkles around the eyes. Good morning texts. Casual chivalry. I hate it when people make a performance out of chivalry, like racing to get to a door before I do or holding it open for an extended period waiting for me to get to it. Don't interrupt your day for this, please. But the first time I dated a man who made it a quiet, casual habit of ensuring he was walking on the street side of the sidewalk, for instance, I was smitten. He never fussed over it. But if we'd cross together, he'd just make his way to the street side. Archaic? Sure. Adorable? Also yes. Honesty about interest. If you're into a woman, say so. Assuming she's into you and isn't interested in cultivating drama, she'll appreciate it. Story 12. Empathy. My partner doesn't like to see people in pain. Even when I told him I cut my finger with a knife by accident, he reacted as if he was cut on the finger. He doesn't like to see videos of people being hurt. Even if it's supposed to be funny or slapstick, he doesn't like to see it. Story 13. My girlfriend told me recently that the 3 things that attract her the most are my intelligence, empathy, and all the snacks I bring her. Feed your girl. Story 14. Immensely attractive when a man is masculine and sweet. I'm not talking muscles and a deep voice. I mean, women around him feel safe to be themselves, and he's confident being himself from the way he laughs to cries. Tender-hearted guys with soft spots for pets melt me. Story 15. I'm friends with this guy, and he's usually pretty depressed and negative. But occasionally, he'll genuinely enjoy something, and you can see life in his eyes and a genuine smile on his face as he laughs. I love seeing that in people. Story 16. Them being sweet, caring, and loyal. And funny. I love someone who can make me smile. I want someone who notices something's wrong even when I don't tell them. I like someone with the same interests. Mostly someone caring. Story 17. A man who knows how to read a room. An observant and natural leader who doesn't have to speak too much. When he does, he's heard. He exudes confidence and understands how and when to express humility. He shares a quiet humor that takes over in the most intimate way. He's known to few and respected by all. A real lover boy when that one woman peels it all back. Story 18. A guy I went to school with had a casual dominance about him that I found incredibly attractive. It seemed effortless, like he had this innate ability to impose his will. He was always in control. In school and among his friends, he was always the de facto leader. People looked to him for instruction or guidance. Even teachers would take cues from him, like if he said he was bored with Byron and Keats, they'd agree it was time to wrap up the romantics. There really are natural-born leaders among us, and some of them are sexy as hell. Story 19. Currently getting to know someone who is just utterly sweet. But God, his eyes are an insane shade of blue. And the way he smiles when he is just casually talking to someone is captivating. Sometimes we just have a little video chat while he is at work, as it is mostly very quiet, which is when I see it. His self-image is not the best. He always says that it is his sisters who got the looks in the family while he got the rest. But honestly, he looks really good in his own way and just does not seem to quite grasp that yet. Story 20. I really like introverted guys. Still able to be social and navigate with a healthy amount of social skills, but I love a guy who is comfortable being by himself and doing things by himself, like traveling, attending gigs, pursuing hobbies, and dining at restaurants. I am like this also, and I love it. Story 21. Good sense of humor, kindness to animals, shared interests, and inquisitiveness. Can be either shy or not, don't care. Can cook and loves giving massages. Good hygiene. Gives gifts or does something without being instructed constantly, like cleaning or washing the dishes. Has secured masculinity, doesn't try to be overly masculine just for approval, and can be feminine. Smart but not a know-it-all. Has clear boundaries. Story 22. Honestly, if he can create a nice atmosphere so I don't feel ready to leave because he said the weirdest, most unhinged things imaginable and I can tell it isn't a joke. Like, one guy I'm really into is so down to earth and chill when we play video games. We engage in playful banter and stuff, keeping the air light and fun. But he can be nice and serious when we need to be. Story 23. I like the pleasant yet rough voice. It is also nice when a man can calm and help. It's nice to rely on someone stronger and not to worry when you walk late at night. Story 24. What I like is a man who listens and actively shows that he is. I am a very talkative person once I start talking, and I have many interests that I like to delve into. If you sit there and listen but also engage and ask questions, then you're a brilliant man in my eyes. Story 25. Funny, isn't it, putting on an act and pretending to be something they are not? It's kind when they're passionate about something, whether it's a show, hobby, or game. I love exchanging different interests and learning something new. Oh, and since my interests are very niche, a guy who genuinely wants to learn more about what I like and doesn't dismiss it is great. I literally love when a guy will watch a show with me or check out things I like just because I like it, and obviously, I do the same with their interests. It's just a nice feeling. I also think it's cute when a guy is clingy as well. Story 26. There's a guy at work who, when he shows someone something on his phone, always makes sure to invite everyone else to see it too so nobody is left out. I like that about him. Story 27. When he treats everyone with respect and kindness, no matter who they are, and sees women as human, not just as cooking, sex, and house cleaning machines. Story 28. A calm but passionate attitude. It's amazing for a guy to show that he loves you when the interest is mutual. Within a relationship, this further increases the love you feel towards the other person due to the constant attention they can give you, taking into account that there will be days when it will be very calm and establish that security as a couple. Story 29. I would like to say a guy who is really good at making conversations and talking. The type that you will never get tired of talking to, even if it's late at night, and the type to not get weirded out by any topic because he doesn't even think to judge and knows exactly what to say. I'd like to say it's very rare for some men, but this is my favorite thing about them. Story 30. I love a good sense of humor. I fell in love with my husband and remain in love with him because, to me, he is the funniest guy in the world. Plus, he has great communication skills that come in handy during difficult conversations or arguments. Story 31. Personally, the way they conduct themselves and the conversation is important. Most people have this habit of talking at people and not talking to them. I've seen it happen quite a lot when meeting new people. Story 32. Empathy. Also, it might sound stupid, but the less a guy asks me about what women think of something, the more I respect him. I think I just like not feeling I have to explain that women are people to another person. Story 33. Literally just a combination of being attractive and being genuinely calm and kind. I also like men who do hands-on work or can craft things. It's very appealing. Story 34. Rolled up sleeves showing forearms. I know it's been said before, but there's just something so attractive about a guy casually rolling up his sleeves while he's focused on something. Story 35. When he does something small that makes you feel seen, like he knows you inside and out, such warm fuzzies. So, If you are obsessed with gardening and he buys you something for the garden, or if he knows your favorite song and plays it for you. Story 36. Absence of nervous energy. Nothing is sexier than a guy who feels clear and sure, not just about himself but also about what is happening around him and what he wants to be happening around him. Story 37. When his promises and words are not merely empty sounds, he takes them seriously. I've known a couple of people who promise things, even the smallest ones, and just forgot about them or changed their minds in a second. When this happens constantly, you can't feel secure with such a person. Story 38. Nearly all the replies in here are personality-based, yet the dating applications prove that women go for looks first. There is a disconnect between what they say and what they do. Story 39. Someone who knows how to actively listen and genuinely cares about people who are different from them. Not only women but also people in the LGBTQ community, people who are differently abled, and others. Someone who truly sees and appreciates women as people. Additionally, people who have done the work to be emotionally vulnerable and articulate their feelings in a healthy way. We all have to do the work to get there. It's not a natural state for most.